The ASICS Gel Nimbus 25 is a significant update from the previous model. To put things into perspective, ASICS are arguably the industry's most popular brand, and they've remodeled their most iconic shoe. To do this is a heck of a bold move, and says that they're either very brave or they're onto something special with this new recipe. Before we figure out which one it is, let's chat about exactly what's new about the 25. The significant update happens at the shoe's heart, its midsole, where the shoe gains almost 1 centimeter of stack height throughout, which is equivalent to 20% more foam underfoot. The shoe also goes with a single layer midsole material, FF Blast Plus, which is the brand's pinnacle soft foam that only select models in the range get. Because this foam is so light, the shoe weighs essentially the same as the previous model despite having a lot more cushioning underfoot. You may wonder what ASICS have done with the gel in their shoe. Well, they've done something interesting and arguably needed to maintain the relevancy of gel in their shoes, and they've created what they call pure gel, which is a softer application of gel that sits directly beneath the heel of your shoe. They've created it concealed in the shoe so it's not visible from the side or back of the shoe. The shaping of the midsole is also new. You'll notice a more curved and a more rocketed forefoot design, and while the cushioning is soft upon compression, there's actually quite a lot of resistance against flexion at the forefoot, and this helps you roll off your forefoot a bit better for a smoother transition. Because of this rocker, ASICS have lowered the heel to toe drop in the shoe from what used to be 13mm in women's and 10mm in men's to now what is 8mm in both genders. This is by default because you can't have a high heel to toe drop in a shoe with a rocker design, as it just creates an awkward transition. So 8mm is by default. The new model no longer has a plastic truss stick shank embedded inside the midsole that offers a torsional stability feature. And that's because the new model has a thick stack height that already has a bending stiffness that offers an inherent torsional stability and support structure. So it's no longer needed in this shoe. We've just come off of what was the best upper ever on the previous Gel Nimbus, and the new model isn't too far different. This upper material is just a little bit more knitted in texture, and it has a slightly different lacing system, but aside from that, the tongue is near identical, it's still gusseted, and the heel counter, if you ignore this pulley system, has virtually the same construction as before. The rubber coverage of the new model appears to be less than before, but it's basically the same. It just has fewer flex grooves as the shoe isn't bending as much. There's still an exposed section in the midfoot of the shoe, which is actually more scuff-proof and resilient than you may think. And the base of the shoe on the new model is slightly wider for more inherent support. So we've spoken about the technical differences, but what are the differences in use and underfoot experience between the new and the old model? I think the differences are really straightforward. The new model is a level up in terms of comfort and ease of underfoot transition, but it's less pace versatile than before. It thrives at comfortable paces, but if you are a quicker runner, say a runner who runs 4 minutes 30 per K or 7 minutes 15 per mile or quicker, this shoe sort of loses its versatility. It thrives at comfortable paces, so it is a easy day specific shoe for quicker runners rather than a jack of all trades. For this quicker runner, I'd rather recommend the ASICS Nova Blast 3, which is kind of like the responsive baby brother to the Nimbus, and it's really pace versatile. It would be a great option if sort of you're capped in terms of how fast you can run in this shoe. But for the majority of runners who are looking at doing 5 minutes per K or 8 minutes per mile or slower, this can be a workhorse trainer for all your runs, and it really offers a level up in terms of comfort and ease of underfoot transitions for all your running. I think the durability of the shoe is going to be good. The sheer amount of cushioning you have underfoot really works in your favor. And while the shoe is soft on foot, if you compress any one given point on the shoe, there's actually quite a lot of resistance against this, which does help in durability's favor. That being said, I would avoid off-roading if possible, as this exposed section works fine on smooth roads or tarmac, but it doesn't quite work too well if you're doing extensive off-roading, especially if it's technical and there's sharp rocks that can scratch and scuff this midsole. Some of the previous or the older Nimbuses had a really thick rubber outsole that you could probably double up really nicely as a road trail shoe. Shoes have changed a lot in the past 10 years, so I would avoid using this for off-roading, or at least have the caution in knowing that it might create durability issues, especially on technical trails. Light, well-groomed trails, walking maybe your dog would be fine, but you do have the disclaimer. One of my initial question marks around the shoe was, is this still going to be stable? And I was leaning towards no, but I've been proven wrong, as it's got a wide base of support which offers inherent stability. It's got sidewalls that wrap around and cradle your foot. So for a shoe that's 4 centimeters off the ground, this is pretty stable. That being said, this is still a neutral shoe. So if you are in need of extra arch support, there are still shoes like the Gel Nimbus and GT series to accommodate you. In terms of the fit, some runners have reported that this tapered toe box is a bit slim for their feet, and they've had to move up half size in a length or move into the wide fit. I've personally also tried the wide fit just out of curiosity, even though this fit fits my slim foot perfectly, and I found that even the wide fit wasn't too wide. So if you've got a broad foot, you want to make sure that you especially try the shoe on and not purchase online, and pay extra attention just to the width of the toe box. So in conclusion, I was very surprised that ASICS made such a drastic change to the Nimbus after version 24 worked so well and was so popular. Despite this, version 25 has exceeded most runners' expectations and delivered something special. Despite such a drastic change, the Nimbus retains a lot of its DNA, and I think much of its customer base will remain the same. I think about 5% of runners may move away from the franchise as they look to retain something traditional and something with a 4-foot flex to it. Where the Nimbus may lose out, I think it will gain a lot more customers, especially customers that buy into the appeal of ASICS being at the forefront of footwear relevancy. This update sets a really good precedent for the rest of the updates ASICS are having this year, such as the new Cumulus, the new 𝐀𝐭, and the new GT2000. This puts ASICS in a really exciting place in the market for the rest of the year.